Back to it after work. I got a little bit of stuff I guess I can spill out of my brain, if you know what I'm saying. This skull of mine, it's got a lot of knowledge and a couple of opinions stuck up there, so I want to spill them out to you, if you understand what I'm saying, baby. I gotta say this all for the public out there, everybody listening. Yeah, find out who I'm imitating, and I don't know, I'll give you a shout out, I suppose. At any rate, well, I'm not looking to poke fun at nobody. Not looking to say names, because the person who brought it up, I got no beef with him. I'm not even going to mention where I know this cat from. But, we're getting close, right? So political rants, political questions. It started as a question, I feel, if I remember it correctly. It wasn't anything... It didn't seem agenda-driven. It just seemed a little like, really? Like, I had to question it. Whether it was a question or whatever. It didn't seem angst-ridden by any means. It was just, honestly, seemed almost survey-esque. But this person was kind of asking about, did you see this person being a good president? Because I do. And, I don't know. With these political agendas and stuff like that, come on. Like, I understand that it's an old saying, so I'm not going to fucking go with it, There was an old saying, the world is flat, if we know better. But, you never discuss politics or religion, shit like that. But oh well. This is a ranting society we live in. Nobody's ever right except for yourself. And so I'm gonna keep that true. Although I'm not trying to lean whatever direction. Like I said, I'm not gonna mention the person or even who they were mentioning as far as their, I guess their political sway. As far as like I'll vote for this person. I'm not even gonna mention that. At least I'll try not to. That's my disclaimer. I'll probably fuck it up because I'm talking politics and none of it's right to begin with. At any rate. The jump start to it, like I said, was kind of a question. Oh, Alabama plate up there. 2 lanes over, a couple cars up. Still going with that. Yeah, just the whole political thing, like, it's almost like the religion thing. If it's not what that person thinks, it's wrong. It's kind of like, the Muslims think we're fucked up. We think the Muslims are fucked up. Who's the Jewish and the Muslim? Is Israel, Syria, correct? That's the difference. All religion based. Well, we're right and you're wrong. Our God is right, your God is wrong. You're fucked up. Let's go to battle. Put up your dukes. Or draw, pilgrim, Something like that. And politics does the same thing. Whatever side you're leaning towards, right or left, it's always, well, my side's more right than your side. Your side's more wrong than mine is. Again, it's that lesser of two evils, evil of two lessers kind of thing. And that's where I can't buy into it. Like, I'm of the thought, give me somebody who's remotely honest, and I'll go for it, I guess. I haven't registered to vote. Like, I voted once in my life. Once! And I'll probably never do it again. It's just, I have not fully seen, and granted, the people that are putting their name in the hat for presidency, sure, I'm sure they all have skeletons in their closet to some degree, and you can poke fun at most any of them. But again, it just seems where each side is like, yeah, but you did this. We would never do that. We did this, man. Well, they won't even admit to their faults, which is kind of bullshit. Because if you can't admit to your own faults, well, how the fuck can I take you accountable for anything? If the budget goes to shit, what are you going to blame that on? I don't know. If fucking Cubs haven't won the World Series in over 100 years, that's why. I don't know. It seems like there's way too many issues out there. And they'll give you whatever reason they want to. Hey, and I'm not leaning one way or the other. I have my thoughts and opinions on certain topics. Doesn't mean I totally agree with a person who's running whatever party, or trying to run for the presidency, obviously, but whatever side they're leaning towards. There's not enough gray area. It's either black or white. Gun control, abortions, illegal immigrants. Like there's no gray area to anything anymore. And sadly, I'd like to say that it's about 80% gray area, because otherwise it's 10% that, 10% that, this way, left, right. There's so much wiggle room in the middle, but nobody wants to even give a thought to it. Just like, no, this is how this has been, and, this is how this should be. Whether you're conservative or progressive. And one side can point to the other and, when this guy was president, look at what happened. There's whoever it is, there's circumstantial bullshit that falls one way or the other, and it all depends because, wow, I could get really far into this. I don't know how far I want to get into this. Yeah, it's all corporate driven. Whoever's greasing the palms of said candidate. Let's not lie. Let's not lie about it. People want to talk about, well, the wars cost us this much even though it did this. The other side will say, well, the wars did this even though it cost us this much. Achieve this by doing this. And I don't know, there's never going to be a perfect run. I think it's been a long time since we had a decent president. Certainly not in my lifetime. Oh, hell no. Certainly not. You can say what you want. Reagan seemed like a nice guy. He was an actor. He got his 2 terms. Bush Sr. wasn't he head of the CIA or something like that? Or head of the FBI maybe? Something. Like high up in one of those agencies, organizations. Then, of course, Bill Clinton comes in. He seems like a nice guy, talkative fella, just a real people person kind of guy. And then Bush Jr. comes in, W. It's like, well, okay, he's got his father's lineage and all that stuff. It's kind of in his blood, if you want to say whatever, but grew up around it, clearly. So he's got a good knowledge of the inner workings of this and that. Okay. I gotta say, Obama's kind of the outside character in, presidents in my lifetime. Not really sure where this guy came from, but seems like a nice guy. I don't want to say talkative, not along the same line as Bill Clinton, but just a good speaker. Could really deliver. Make it seem, it didn't seem like he was too higher than anybody else. Just shucks, whatever. I'm just this kind of guy, Yeah, come time for college basketball, March Madness. Yeah, here's my tournament bracket. Here's the team I'm going to pick. It just seems like he's a little more relatable at the very least. I mean, who's next? That's where everybody's aiming right now. And it just seems like, New York played over there in the oncoming lane. I agree with a lot of shit that you see on Facebook and whatnot, on Twitter, the social media sites. I wish the people running for president would wear a jacket like NASCAR drivers do. Where it's got all the patches of the advertisers that support them, so you can kind of see where their campaign money's coming from. Because isn't that part of the thing where, like, they don't say, or they don't even have to say, where their campaign money is coming from? I find that to be a little weird. Who's pushing the agendas for the people that are pushing the agendas? Call them a mouthpiece if you will, but I don't know how much power our president has. I really don't. I mean, now that they're able to do something, shut down and veto certain things, but let's just say that the president-elect is whatever, one side, but all the representatives in the House are of the opposite side. Now, if they go to negate or nix a bill that's trying to be passed or a law or whatever, I don't know how many, I honestly don't know. It's like I'm trying to figure shit out as I go. That's why I can't lean one way or the other, because I haven't educated myself enough. But it's the House of Representatives, they also like get a vote in what's going on. If the president says, let's do this, let's raise or lower taxes. Let's just say they go to raise taxes. In the House of Representatives, it's not 100. I don't know what there's what is it? Is it one senator per state, or don't they get 2? Whatever the case is. But there's a great deal of people that also, if I'm wrong, totally check me if I'm wrong. But, state senators, I want to say that there's only 1 per state, correct me if I'm wrong. But with the House of Representatives, isn't each state represented by 2 of them? I could be way off, whatever. For some reason, my brain is thinking the House of Representatives is only like 20 people. Or maybe an odd number, like 13, for whatever reason. Speak of unlucky. But let's say it's 13-1. The president says raise trying to keep this in line. The president says raise taxes. And he's one side of the room. Left wing, right wing, whatever. He says raise taxes, he's on that side of the room. And the 13, I could be way off, but bear with me. But the others are at the opposite wing, and they say, no, screw you, and then they shut down his bill, his vote, his thought. Now, the president's trying to do something, whether it's good or bad for the people, the House is against the president then. So how much power does the president ultimately have if he doesn't have the support of his own House? And I'm not talking about his direct blood family, his spouse and the children, I'm not saying that. I'm saying the House of Representatives, whatever. If they all go against what he is for, well, then who's really in control here? And who's swaying the House of Representatives? I don't know. These are just some of the weird thoughts. Like, I haven't fully educated myself. I'm kind of looking for answers. But it still confuses me to this day, where we're halfway through 2015. And we are still so sure that my God is the best and supreme and ultimate and only God there is or should be. And we're so sure in the year of 2015 that the person that I want to vote for is the only one that's right about everything they talk about. Are you fucking stupid? Really? You can't be that dumb. I mean, at the very least, give me a valid argument. Like, okay, I agree with the candidate's point of view on this, but not so much on this. At least give me, to some degree, like, okay, well, the budget is more important than whatever. I don't know. It's, gay marriage, I mean, can gay marriage, well, it's kind of happening all over, but, because it's a hot topic thing right now that the media is pushing, I'll go with that, for example. What's more important, our national debt or gay marriage? I think gay marriage can kind of wait, and even if it does go right away and it gets passed it is passed all 50 states, isn't it? Some places are, like Tennessee, I guess there's judges and all that just aren't allowing it, and I don't know if they're being fined, suspended, losing their jobs, whatever. But it took us long enough to get that through. So okay, I guess I can't say that, because that's something, I don't know, abortion. That's probably not legal in every state. That's probably not legal in, I would say, 50 states. How many do I think it's illegal in? If it's illegal or okay in like 10 of them, that's only 20%. I don't know. I need to look that up. I remember the gay marriage thing. I don't know how I forgot, to tell you the truth. I'll apologize for that, because I live in South Florida. There's a pretty dominant, the LGBT community down here. I get plenty of friends of those, I don't know if I would call that a race, but I got plenty of friends within the LGBT community, I'll say that. Mainly the L's and the G's and the B's, not so much the T's. I don't know many transgender people. Hey, if I know them and I don't know that they're transgender, that's one thing. But anyway, forget that. I'm just rambling on that for whatever reason. What am I saying here? Haven't yawned yet. That's a good sign. Now that I say it, I'm thinking it. I'll almost want to. But yeah, I forgot about that. So yeah, it's finally been passed in the U.S., even though Canada and Mexico have had that for, a good couple of years already. They've already passed the gay marriage thing well before we did. And I thought we were the land of the free. Ha ha ha, that's pretty funny, isn't it? But anyway, let's go back to where I was. If somebody would give me the argument like, okay, well, I want to vote for this person based on what they're saying about how we're going to get out of debt as opposed to the abortion thing or the gun law thing. Those things can wait, and here are my reasons why. If they could give me a valid argument, because if those are things that are important to them, I at least want to hear their side to it. Now, I'm not always looking to be contrarian about things. Now, this whole recording might sound contrarian, don't get me wrong, but sorry, but that's just where I'm at. Who can you trust? Not too many of them. That's why I can't vote for any of them. But, don't get me wrong, the whole idea of, national debt versus the gun law thing, like that should be, why are those two things being, put up as your main two things? I don't know. I'm trying to use this as an example for someone who might construct an argument towards me. I'm sure there's other things we need to fucking worry about. Don't get me wrong. Land of the free, and yet we incarcerate more people than any other country on the planet. Check me if I'm wrong. That just seems weird to me. It doesn't seem so free. And as far as us being United States of America, we seem pretty fucking divided, don't we? Because, well, if you don't vote Republican, you're an asshole. If you don't vote Democrat, you're a prick. It's like, how united are we? I'm very puzzled by this. It's a good thing to say, and it's a very old state of mind. Let me go back to that real quick. It's been so long since we've had, in my mind, that we've had like a good president. And like I said, wow, that motherfucker nearly clipped me to change lanes. That would have been fun. There's a cop right up there. I bet you that's why he slowed down and he's jumping away. Huh. New tags, too, by the way. I need that dash cam, I'm telling you. But, I think it's been a long time since we haven't had an actual good and decent president who was pretty damn true and was, honest about doing the best for the people and not for themselves. And I'm talking, we might have to go back to the 40s and 50s, Like I said, I'm sure they all got skeletons in their closet, but just, when you think wholesome American presidents and shit like that, it's usually during times of extreme strife. There was actual threats. Like, World War II. Somebody is literally trying to take over the fucking world. Okay? Pearl Harbor. Say what you will about that. I know it was terrible, but we cut off the Japanese's oil. They did that as kind of a retaliatory, desperate men go to desperate measures. So yeah, I'm not condoning, I understand why they did it, I'll say that much. I understand why Pearl Harbor happened. It's sad that it did happen, but cause and effect. They didn't just do that out of the blue. We were worried about Germany. How does Japan jump into the whole thing? We cut off their oil. I understand why it happened. It's tragic that it did, but it was cause and effect. Germany wanting to wipe out, entire races and take over the planet, that's a little fucked up. You go back to President, who was that, Eisenhower and Truman at the time. Eisenhower, sorry, I don't remember the years, but Truman was the one that dropped the bombs, correct? Okay, that's a big fucking decision to make. And then you go back, wasn't it, wheelchair, not Teddy, President Roosevelt, not Teddy. I can't think, FDR, Franklin Delano Roosevelt. People would say that he was a damn good president, in tough times and shit like that. I think he had like 4 terms of presidency, which, we don't want fresh ideas and all that stuff, so we only give him, it's a 4-year term, but you can only do 2, so you can get 8 years, and that's about it. Okay, I kind of get that, whatever, but I'm going back to those times. I'm thinking Truman, Eisenhower, and FDR. Like our last, I guess, good presidents. And even Truman dropping the bombs on people that retaliated against shit that we were kind of doing to them. We were depraving them of something. Now, maybe Japan was helping Germany in their attempts at the war, Okay, yeah. Hey, I'll admit, if I have to do a little bit more homework to figure that one out, fine. But we cut off their oil, and that's what caused them to do that. I don't know. Maybe there were peace talks before that, like, hey, fucking let us get moving here. Otherwise, we're gonna do some stupid shit. I need to educate myself on that. I'm well willing to do so. I'm asking at this point. New York plate right next to me, Chevy Silverado. But these are the confusing things that I got swimming around my damn brain. And it just, what about JFK? He was a good president. Nah, he was a well-known adulterer to his damn wife. I get it, that was like the 60s and free love and all that shit, but you're married, and I'm not the most religious guy. No, actually, I'm one of the least religious guys. Not to say that I'm a Satanist. Please don't misunderstand that, too. I'm not religious. Doesn't mean I believe in the devil, nor do I worship the motherfucker. Sorry. I have my own thoughts and opinions, so, but still, even marriage, yeah, like if I get married, and that too can be a joke on its own, by all means. But yeah, I'll do a little better than most, I would hope, which is why it hasn't happened yet. Because I haven't found that this looks solid. I haven't jumped to a stupid conclusion of, you know what, I'm 22, we get along great. No, get my path of life figured out. Then I'll go to make those kinds of choices. Want to make sure I'm ready for it, not just, some people get married at an impulse. And I'm not saying that JFK did that, but come on, hey, good for him. You got Marilyn Monroe, but it'd be a little bit cooler if you did that without being married. I mean, how did Joe DiMaggio feel about that? And was Joe DiMaggio sleeping around behind her back? Were they even married at the time? I could be way off on my time scale, don't get me wrong. But one of the best baseball players at the time, and one of the our frickin' president, both had the same woman in common, in the sheets. Come on. Do we really think that JFK was that great of a guy because he got killed? I mean, is that the whole thing? I don't know. Well, think about this. Abe Lincoln, he freed the slaves. Not necessarily. If I remember it correctly, I mean, yeah, that was part of it, but his main concern was to save the solidification of the Union. He said, if it saves the blacks, fine, but, what I want to do is to save the Union and to not have it disbanded by the rebels. That's what his whole thing was. So it was just kind of a happy accident. So was Lincoln that great of a guy? I mean, he didn't actively go out to pursue, no, we need to free the slaves and, to help all of that. It was more or less, I mean, if that happens, fine, but that's not what I'm looking to do. I want to save the solidification of the Union. I do not want it disbanded. With the states as they were, and it wasn't all 50 yet, obviously, but the Union needs to stay whole. If part of that has to do with all men being created equal, which is what the fucking country was founded on initially, well, we can have that. By the way, women weren't able to vote at that point either, so what the hell, I got to question a lot of it. If he was so great, why didn't that happen, beforehand, or, during the first 2 minutes of his inauguration? He just wanted to save the Union, and that was about it. Okay. Whatever, save it from the Confederacy. Okay. Was he that great of a guy, or was it just, he got killed, and that's the difference? I don't know. Maybe we glorify death so much, I tend to think we do. And don't get me wrong, it's never good when anybody dies. I mean, unless it's an Adolf Hitler, that's a guy, that's a puppy that needs to be put to sleep, and there is your first yawn of the recording. Woo, that's a good one. At any rate, I tend to think that we glorify death in that regard, which is kind of a sad thing. Hey, everybody that gets assassinated ain't always good. I mean, didn't McKinley get killed? President McKinley. And where's the glorification for McKinley? I don't know. So maybe I'm a little off on that, but I don't know, maybe it's because, well, the Civil War, Cold War, maybe that beautification of the assassination, I'm not trying to rhyme here, but maybe that helps to make them seem like they were greater than what they were going for, what they stood for, who they were. I don't know. But all across the board, I'm sure all of them got skeletons in their closet. They're not all what we think them out to be. I just found it a little awkward and a little confusing for this 30-minute musing. That still in this year of 2015, we still have this thought that the person that I'm going for in a political sense is 10,000% correct with everything that they say and what they're for. Foreign policy, I don't even know, foreign policy is so fucking broad of a brush to be, painting with. Well, foreign policy on what? On war? On financial exchange? Import-export? Travel? I mean, what about that thing in Cuba? We're like, oh, it's okay to fly there now. Well, what was I don't know. I'm asking. I don't know what the holdup was. The embargo, I think it was called. It's like, really? Why is that such an issue? Why is it such a fucking, why is it so troubling to go to or from Cuba on a flight? And a foreign policy. Well, foreign policy on what? I need narrowed down. When things become too vague, that's when you're trying to hide something. Well, I like his foreign policy. On what? I need more specifics. I do. Hey, educate me. Tell me this. But if you're going to, give me both sides of the coin. Now, Florida is a right-to-work state. And some people will say, well, that's fucking garbage. We should start a union. You can't. It's a right-to-work state. Unions are garbage. But yet I know people that are in unions out of this state, obviously. And they think unions, unions actually, they're good for this reason. So if I can't hear both things from one person, I at least want to hear one person versus the other as far as give me a piece of paper. Draw a line down the center, top to bottom. On one side is the good, and on one side is the bad. Write me out what the good and the bad is, this versus that. Do the positives outweigh the negatives? And who's in charge of all of that shit, too? Because the positives can outweigh the negatives fucking 90 to 10. But if those 10% negatives are so strong and in a negative light, okay, maybe we got to rearrange and do some shuffling here. If all the face cards are on the bottom of the deck, boy, I'm going to be really hesitant to hit and try to get 21 if I'm at the blackjack table otherwise. Because I know that's going to cause me to bust at some point. It ain't nobody like being hit in that debt, that overdraft, if you will. Traffic is starting to slow up here around Atlantic Boulevard, and I got to get my Google map out to figure out where this little event I'm looking for is. So with about 2-minute warning. Yeah, Atlantic Boulevard's slow, so I bet you Copans is kind of slow too, unless there's something way ahead of me, and everybody's trying to take earlier exits. There's probably a crash. I see tire pieces all torn up. Well, those are just a shit ton of my questions. It just bothers me, and I have to question it. In the year 2015, we're still so hardcore into getting one person because we think that's the guy, or gal now with Hillary running. I don't want to sound sexist about this. I try to be fair, and that's one of my things. I'm trying all about equality, trying to be fair. That's why I want to hear both sides to whatever issue. Not just, both sides from one person. I'm hoping both sides from two people who see opposite spectrums. Looking for a little help there. But less than a minute to go. I'm trying to get myself situated. So, till we meet again, I will catch your ass down the road.